Hello, good afternoon. This is Sophian. Welcome back to Sophian River Forum. And my name is Bernard Ishibontin. And like I say all the time, if you haven't subscribed, you should change the time to subscribe, share with friends and family, let them know how informative this particular forum is. And like I said, this is unscripted forum. We don't write, we hardly write anything down. We just speak from what is come from the mind. And so, we talk about social, cultural issues, geopolitical issues, economic, and sometimes we even talk about relationship. If you go through my previous videos, there's a lot of, we have all kind of issues. Every issue in this world, we talk about it. So this is unscripted, like I said, and once again, the name is Sophian River Forum. Just go and look at the right hand corner. You see the red bottom or the red icon. It will say subscribe. All that you have to do is to click. You click it and that's it. You don't pay a penny. You don't pay a dime. And so that's it. And then you be in there. So anytime I upload any new video, you got it. So once again, my name is Bernard Ishibontin and subscribe to Sophian River Forum. And so today's discussion will be brief. And it's going to be, it's about how the Russia-Ukraine crisis can turn into a third world war. Once again, the topic today is how the Ukraine or Russia and Ukraine conflict can turn into a third world war. Yes, we have had the First World War beginning from 1914 to I think 1918, and then we have the Second World War, in the early 40s to 1945, something like that. And we have since then we have never had any like global war that involved the whole world. And I'm saying that if you look at the pattern, the parallels, if you look at the character, how things are playing out, in Ukraine, Russia and Ukraine conflict, how the war is dragging slowly. It seems like it's going away and then it start intensifying. And then we have one leader, relatively powerful nation like Russia, whose leader has that high level of nationalistic tendency, just like Hitler was doing. Hitler has, so imbued with, high level of nationalistic. He thought Germany was, at that time, was better than any other country, any surrounding country, all countries in Europe. And so he thought he has all the military capability, so he could overrun all the countries, surrounding countries. So that's what he started doing. He invaded Poland, and one thing led to another. And so the same way, if you look at what Putin is doing, Putin exhibit that high level of nationalistic tendency that he thought the breakup of Soviet Union in the late 80s and 90s, was a geopolitical mistake. It was a mistake that couldn't have happened. And so his main motives, his underlying major motive is to find a way to restore Russia into its past glory in terms of becoming like an empire, having all these 15 or 16 republics. And that is Putin's, main mindset. That's a fact. Putin knows that. So when you have that kind of character in the helm of affairs, and he has nuclear weapon too, and fighting or trying to conquer a little relatively weaker nation, he doesn't understand why a country like Ukraine is still resisting his, military overtures. So for Putin, losing is not an option for him. So if it comes to the point where he finds out the Western countries are supporting Ukraine to the point that Ukraine will keep on resisting, then he may be tempted to use nuclear weapon. So to finalize everything. And when that happens, this is what I'm saying, why Third World War can. If Putin, feel threatened, find out that the Western nations, led by the United States, is, keep on supporting Ukraine, And then get to a point that he's losing more. Already, a lot of his generals, a lot of his, trusted generals have died, in this crisis. And now he has just about a week or whatever, he has got another, he has just went and get another general who has been retired for a long time. He weighed more than 600 pounds. Big old man that I don't even know how long the guy can even survive in the battlefield. But that's how desperate the guy is. So when he gets to that point and he finds out he's losing a lot of people, and say by mistake, Ukraine, using the missile in any of the Moscow or Russian cities, it's gonna be a mess. He probably will use either a full-scale nuclear weapon or tactical nuclear. And if it comes to that point, remember, there's a NATO countries right around the corner of Russia. We have Latvia, we have Estonia, and we have Lithuania. They're all around the corner. Lithuania are all around the corner of Russia. And so, if anything like that happen, and say, God forbid, any of this nuclear weapon, just hit any of this NATO member country, you know what the meaning of NATO means? That any attack on one member is an attack on all members, including the United States. And so what will happen? See, it's not that people are now feeling that what is going on in Ukraine and Russia is over. You know how in human, society, anytime something happened, the first week, everybody be talking about it, and then 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, by a month or two, the war is going more than 3 months. So now people are not even, seem like they're not paying attention. But that's the scariest part. Because if Putin realized that he is losing more than he can take, then he has a nuclear weapon. And that's a game changer. That's a fun. But if Putin is tempted to use a nuclear weapon in any means, United States may be drawn into this fight. And it's not going to be good. Because think about it, the First World War, there was no nuclear weapon. No country had nuclear weapon yet. The Second World War, only United States, was the first country to develop a nuclear weapon, but it was because of Japan attacking the Pearl Harbor in 1941. So that was the United States used it to finish up Japan. And as soon as United States use it, you see Japan surrender. That's it. You see? And so, since then, after the Second World War, a lot of countries, those countries who didn't have nuclear weapons now have it. You see, China has it. Like I said, France got it. Britain got it. Pakistan got it. India got it. Russia got it. Russia was the second in 1949. After they found out the United States had used it, they found a way to get a copy, through some espionage or secret way, and get some, also trying to develop it upon what United States did. And so it's scary. And this time though, if there were to be a third world war, I don't know how the world could survive. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic or trying to scare anybody, but that is how those people who believe in prayers should pray. And if you don't believe in anything, just keep your finger crossed and hope that this doesn't happen. Because if Putin make a mistake, use or tactical, miscalculate and use nuclear weapon in any means in that area, I think the United States or the Western countries will be forced to be drawn into it. And if that happens, there will be all open war. That is how third world war. And I'm not, think about it. Let me give you a little brief before I end up. If you look at the First World War, or the Second World, it wasn't like a group of countries on one side, another group on one side, and say, let's fight in the First World War. No, it was just like what happened between Ukraine and Russia. One country, a powerful country, or militarily capable country like Germany in Second World War, they were powerful. Think like Hitler thought he would get all the military, capability to invade the nearby countries. And so that is what Putin is doing. Putin has nuclear weapon. Putin has military, military capabilities stronger than Ukraine and all the surrounding countries. But I think the point is, we have, like I said, we have NATO countries like Latvia, we have Estonia, we have Lithuania. All of them are around the corner of Russia. And so if Russia miscalculate and use nuclear weapon on Ukraine, somehow it affects Lithuania or Latvia or Estonia, what will happen as a NATO member? United States, Britain, all those countries will also, France will be part of that. You see, and so that is how it is. So if you look at the international relations, how nations interact with each other, they do that. Countries interact with each other through what? The formation of alliances. That is how, friendship. It's just like you and your friend, you live in the neighborhood and you have all kind of friends, right? So when somebody attack your friend, you go into your friend's defense. And so that is how, international relations is all about. So if you look at Africa, we have AU, that's an alliance, right? And then we have ECOWAS in West Africa, that's an alliance. If you go to Europe, we have European Union, that's an alliance. We have NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, military alliance. You see, we have that. Before the breakdown of the Soviet Union or the Cold War, we have Warsaw Pact countries comprising of what? The communist or socialist countries, and we have the NATO, the Western nations, you see. So that is how countries interact. So if you attack one nation's friend, allied friend, then another country would. So that is how the First World War started. You see, so in the First World War, briefly, the First World War, there was Serbia, or some of the Soviet nationalists attack, a prince or a royal to Austria-Hungary dynasty, which the guy name was Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And so when they attack and assassinate him, what happened? Other countries who are not friends with Serbia attack. So Germany attacked Serbia. And then Russia, because Russia and Serbia are friends, they also went in there. And then Japan, you see, Japan and Britain were friends at that time. Britain, France, and Belgium were also allied, are friends. And then France and Russia. So it's just like, you attack my friend, this person. So there's a series of events that caused the First World War. But the root cause was the assassination of the prince or the royal of Austria-Hungary Empire, who was Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And so when he was assassinated, those countries, Russia and Serbia, Russia goes into the defense of what? Serbia, because Germany attacked Serbia. And then France and Russia were also friends. So this country attacked this country, and then it started World War I. At that time, United States was minding its own business, right? But guess what? United States ship was also attacked. There was a ship left Germany from New York to Liverpool. And so somewhere in the Ireland, coast of Ireland, Germany sunk that United States merchant ship. And so one thing led to another. So United States was drawn into it. Not that there's a combination of that. The ship was number one, the sinking of the ship. And so so if you look at the Second World War too, the Second World War was United States was at that time practicing a foreign policy that we call isolationism, where they don't want to be part of what is happening. They isolate themselves. They wasn't like into everything like they do now. They were minding their own business, even though they were part of the trade with international trade, the trade and everything, but they wasn't all too much enthusiastic involved in it. But during the Second World War, it was Hitler who started everything. Hitler was, portraying militaristic tendencies. He thought he was so powerful, so he invaded Poland. When he invaded Poland, Britain went in. Britain went into, also declared war on Germany. And then so like I said, countries form alliances, when they interact each other. So when you attack my friend, another person will attack. It's just like ECOWAS country. Let's say in West Africa, we have ECOWAS, and country like, say, country from southern part of Africa attack one of the ECOWAS countries. Definitely, almost all the countries in West Africa will come into the defense of a country. So that is how it is. So today, like I said, like I'm saying, that third world war can start because of what Russia is doing. You see now, United States and the NATO countries are supporting Ukraine. But look at this. They're just giving them conventional weapons and that kind of stuff. But how about if Putin used nuclear weapon? See, it will change the whole ball game. And that is how. So, like I said, third world war or world war doesn't start because countries decided that they're going. I wait for you to attack me before I do. It's one country mostly start the whole thing, and it will be just like you attacking somebody, your neighboring country, and then because they have alliances, you attack my friend, another person come in, and that kind of stuff. That is how it was. So if you look at what is happening today in Ukraine and Russia, guys, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but let's all pray and let's all hope for the best that it doesn't turn nasty. Because if it turns nasty, I don't think this world we are living in today will survive. Because you know what? Unlike the First World War and the Second World War, today, a lot of these major countries have nuclear weapons. And trust me, nuclear weapons is not it's not a conventional weapon. It's not the kind of stuff anybody should play with. And those people who have it knows it. They know that nuclear weapons has a very devastating, extraordinarily devastating impact when anybody were to use it. So that is what I have for you. Let's all keep our hands crossed and pray that this war, Putin will realize some kind of sense and stop doing what he's doing and just cut this. Other than that, it's very, very scary the more this war drags on. So that's what I have for you today, and I'll talk to you another time.